Welcome back. I'm Richard Hosnaut, and I'm your host for the Wisdom Inspired Life podcast and this Wisdom Inspired Life YouTube channel. Great to have you back. We're continuing in this particular episode from the previous one where we started the Words of Wisdom, otherwise known as the WOW series. And I'm sharing with you wisdom from some of the books that have been most helpful to me along my journey. It's kind of like what I know best and what's been helpful. The book that I'm sharing with you, again in this episode, is written by Chopra, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. A massive bestseller for a long time. It put him on the map, and very rightly so, as a big thinker, as a great spiritual teacher. And these 7 spiritual laws of success, we covered the first 3 in the previous episode, and we'll finish up with the other 4 in this episode. The first one we're going to talk about is effortless. And understanding this may not be effortless for you, but bear with me. This law is based on the fact that nature's intelligence functions with effortless ease and abandoned carefreeness. Nature's intelligence, God's intelligence. This is the principle of least action, of no resistance. This is therefore the principle of harmony and love. Harmony and love. When we learn this lesson from nature, we easily fulfill our desires. And I'll add, we easily fulfill our desires when we act from both harmony and from love. Think of that in your life when you've had love, especially in its pure stage, which for many of us is the beginning stage in a relationship with something or someone, and how effortless that is. We're in flow. Okay? You get a glimpse of what we're talking about here. Least effort is expended when our actions are motivated by love. Any action for any reason motivated by love, because nature is held together by the energy of love. Remember, Jesus said, God is love. Okay? When you seek power and control over other people, you waste energy. And worse, quite frankly. When you seek money or power for the sake of the ego, you spend energy chasing the illusion of happiness instead of enjoying happiness in the moment. And as you may have learned already, I have a book called Ultimate Happiness. And the proof is there. More money, not more happiness on average for people. Very clear. All across all cultures. Okay? When you seek money for personal gain only, you cut off the flow of energy to yourself. It's going back to the law of giving. And interfere with the expression of nature's intelligence. But when your actions are motivated by love, there is no waste of energy. This law, I understand, effortless. Life is a struggle, Richard, come on, don't you know that? I know it can be a struggle, but I also know it can be effortless. In a previous episode, in talking about creativity and everything, I talked about being in flow. And being in flow is effortless. People in sports talk about it being in the zone. It's effortless. Okay? Effortless. Okay? The law of intention and desire. Conscious change is brought about by 2 qualities inherent in consciousness: attention and intention. And attention energizes, and intention transforms. Whatever you put your attention on will grow in your life. Think about that. The opposite is not paying attention to something. It doesn't grow in your life, right? But when you pay attention to something, it grows in your life in some way. Whenever you take your attention away from something, it will wither and disintegrate and disappear. Just reflect on your own personal experiences with this. Intention, on the other hand, triggers transformation of energy and information. Intention organizes its own fulfillment. You create intention, and you harness that with your willpower. Okay? Next, the law of detachment. In detachment lies the wisdom of uncertainty. In the wisdom of uncertainty lies the freedom from our past, from the known, what is the prison of past conditioning. This is where we detach from our habits and go back to some earlier law and making conscious choices. Every choice becomes available when we abandon maybe the choice we've been making forever. And in our willingness to step into the unknown, the field of all possibilities, we surrender ourselves to the creative mind that orchestrates the dance of the universe. I think you know that I work in the field of creativity and innovation, and this is very, very much stepping into the unknown. There's a field of all possibilities. There's no prejudging going on because it's unknown. And you learn and you play with possibilities. And it orchestrates your dance with the universe and people and capabilities and thinking. Okay? The law of detachment says that in order to acquire anything in the physical universe, we have to relinquish our attachment to it. Now, if you've been listening to the Wisdom Inspired Life podcast, especially from those in the Bhagavad Gita, you will get an earful for many episodes about the importance of detachment, of relinquishing attachment. Don't get attached to things. This doesn't mean that you give up the intention to create your desire. You don't give up the intention, and you don't give up the desire. You give up your attachment to the result. Another way of looking at this is sometimes we get expectations. If I do this, this is going to happen. And you desire that outcome. Well, that's a future outcome. And our ability to predict the future is just not quite as great as we might like to think it is sometimes. If I do this, this will happen. Well, maybe. And maybe not. And if you let go of the attachment to the result, I'm going to do the best I can. Okay? And we will see what happens. And along the way, you often find possibilities that are far greater than any result that you might have become attached to. Okay? Because in the course of making something happen, the learning continues. And if the learning is not used to influence the outcome or the result, we get attached. No, that what I've just learned isn't going to get me what I just got attached to in terms of the result. You're not going to be able, in the course of acting on something, to gain learning to make an even better result than you might have previously been attached to. Okay? It's a wondrous process. It may sound subtle, but it's almost borders on magical. At least that's been my experience. Okay? The law of Dharma, or purpose in life. Everyone has a purpose in life. We came into this life with a purpose. I know I did. And I'm living a good part of that. A unique gift or special talent to give to others. That's your purpose. And when you blend this unique talent with service to others, again, servant leadership comes up here, we experience the ecstasy and exaltation of our own spirit, which is the ultimate goal of all goals. He goes on to say something pretty important. There are three components of the law. First, each of us is here to discover our true self, capital S, That means our true divinity. To find out on our own that our true self is spiritual. That essentially we are spiritual beings that have taken manifestation in a physical form. Think about that. We are spiritual beings that have taken physical form. We're not human beings that have occasional spiritual experiences. It's the other way around. We are spiritual beings that have occasional human experiences. At the heart of this, we are spiritual beings. Okay. Second, you have a talent that is unique in its expression. So unique that there's no one else alive on this planet that has that talent or that expression of that talent. Think about that for a moment. Billions of people on this planet, and you have a talent that's unique in its expression, and that is a very powerful, motivating, joyous understanding. Okay? You, in part, discover that through love and through engaging in a spiritual journey that leads you to a wisdom-inspired life. That opens you up to understanding what your unique talent is. The third component of the law of Dharma is service to humanity. To serve your fellow human beings and to ask yourself the questions, how can I help? The exact question we talked about in servant leadership. How can I help all those that I come into contact with? Become a servant leader. When you combine the ability to express your unique talent with service to humanity, then you make full use of the law of Dharma. And coupled with the experience of your own spirituality, the field of pure potentiality, we talked about that as the first law, there's no way you'll not have access to unlimited abundance, because that is the real way abundance is achieved. Amen. My personal experience is 100% aligned with this. Here's generally the advice that I give people as an executive coach and as a personal coach. They say, geez, I wish I knew what I wanted to do, which is another way of saying maybe I wish I knew what my purpose is here in this life. And the first inklings of that, the first clues of that, can come by doing an analysis of what is really fun for you to do. It may not be the particular expression of it, but you're doing something. You're displaying a skill, you're displaying ability, and you have a lot of fun displaying and utilizing that ability. The same thing applies as look at what you love to do. That's easy to do. And here's what happens. When you combine what's fun for you and what you love to do, you get a very powerful combination. And in there lie the clues of what your purpose is in this life. And you say to me, oh, Richard, yeah, I think I know what mine is, but how am I going to make money? Stay with it. Open to possibilities. Okay? God will help you in realizing this. Your intuition, your voice of your soul will help you when you engage in this. Do not think for one moment, I can flip the switch. Richard just said, what is fun for me to do? Yeah, okay, I got the answer to that. What do I love to do? Yeah, I've got the answer to that. I'm sorry, I wish in many cases it could be that easy. This is a new process for most of us. Be with it. Be with it. Let thoughts come into your mind. Keep a diary, write them down. Think about the consequences. Think of the possibilities that they suggest. Play with possibilities, okay? And see when things come together. Be aware of people and resources that come into your life while you're doing this. It's almost God's way of saying, hey, here's something that can help you. Okay? Yes, life purpose is extremely important. And it's easier to achieve than you think if you'll keep these 7 spiritual laws of success and the basic advice I've shared with you here in mind. Okay? If at any time you want to engage in this more, in the notes you've got my email address and we can Zoom or whatever. Okay? Hopefully that helps you. Well, help is on the way. If you want, you can go to my wisdominspiredlife.com website. There you can listen to the podcast, Wisdom Inspired Life, a great player. I mean, namely a way to play the podcast and listen to them, better than it's on Apple or Spotify. You can also learn about my wisdom-related books and a brief bio on myself. Okay? We're on a journey. We're on a spiritual journey. We are spiritual beings having human experiences. On this spiritual journey, I'm suggesting it's a journey to a wisdom-inspired life. It's a journey I'm taking. I invite you to join me on that, on this journey. And when it comes to this journey, I look forward to continuing it with you.